damage that the current administration has done can only be reversed by one candidate today. And I think that we can all agree that that candidate is Joe Biden. We have so much work to do over the next 94 days to make sure that we are successful on caucus night in February, and we need your help. We plan to talk to more voters more times than any other candidate, and we're going to make sure that every voter in Iowa hears Joe's message and that we reach every single caucus goer. We need you to commit to knocking a door, making a phone call, or organizing a meeting in your neighborhood to help make sure that Team Joe is victorious on February 3rd. So please look throughout the crowd and find one of my colleagues with a clipboard. And if you have a clipboard, please hold them high so that everyone can see them. These are my fellow organizers, and they are ready and willing to help you find a way to help Joe win the Iowa caucus. We can't wait to get to know you, and we can't wait to help Joe win the Democratic nomination. Joe's going to be here soon, so we'll all be heading over to the Liberty and Justice Gala together once he gets here. And thank you so much for joining us today. And please don't hesitate to come and find me if you are interested in volunteering. So thank you so much again.
So I gotta tell you, I gotta warn you, I talk funny. I'm from Boston. So we talk funny, but we like to be heard. We like to have a voice. Matter of fact, we like to have a voice so bad, once upon a time, a few Bostonians snuck onto a boat and threw some tea out into the harbor. And that was the very little tip of the iceberg of what you Iowans showcase as our democracy here in this country. What a beautiful thing. We have a voice. And we get to send people to our nation's capital to be that voice for us. Once upon a time, the people of Delaware sent a vivacious young man with a great big smile, with a heart that was 10 times the size of his smile, and a fight in him to be their voice in our nation's capital. Right about that same time, the firefighters in this country sent the barrel-chested Virginian to the nation's capital to speak for the firefighters in this country. Both of those two men met, and they had a shared sense of not only service, but respect for service. When you think about what government does, it's a service. When you think about what probably is the most acute service government delivers to us as Americans, it's help when you need it. It's being able to pick up the phone when you're in trouble and call 911. And usually you get a firefighter or a paramedic, or if you need the law enforcement, you get a cop. But people come to make your life better. That can come with risk. It can come with danger. That service comes with sacrifice. Sometimes the ultimate sacrifice. Well, when those two men met each other down in our nation's capital, they embarked on an ambitious plan. And that was to take care of the families of the firefighters and police officers that made the ultimate sacrifice protecting the public. They passed legislation that for the first time gave the families left behind of the fallen a benefit called the Public Safety Officer Benefit. That's the type of compassionate leadership that we need now, that we've enjoyed on so many levels with the leadership that you're going to hear from tonight. I'm very honored to be able to stand here to introduce our voice for firefighters, our leader, our General President, Harold A. Shapeberger. Harold?
Ed, thank you very much. And hey, are we ready for tonight? Are we ready to begin the process, the caucus, to elect the next president tonight? Let me just say, first of all, Ed Kelly, a great international officer, our General Secretary Treasurer, thank you so much for what you do for our union, but an incredible voice that you had. And to our international president who's here, Mark Woolbright, and our state leadership, Doug Nays, to all of our local leadership all across Iowa, the incredible work that you do on behalf of not only your state, but our nation and the community. I'm just so proud to be just a part of you and to be able to represent your interests. But more importantly, I am so proud to be a part of this campaign to elect the next president of the United States. And I'm proud that we endorse and we support a man who has experience in leadership, that he's like firefighters. He's a problem solver who deeply cares about America and this country. Joe Biden has supported our members from day one, but more importantly, he has supported you from the days that he entered the United States Senate. He has supported workers. He has supported working families. He is really comfortable and proud to say the word union. And he knows that those that are part of their incredible unions built the middle class in this country. Joe Biden supports not only the middle class, he supports making it stronger, to raise it up. Joe Biden is going to be the president that is going to put an adult back in the Oval Office. Joe Biden understands the power of collective bargaining, but at the same time, Joe Biden understands about the need to bring decency and civility back into the public discourse. Joe Biden knows that we have to put ourselves back on that international stage as the hope and the symbol for democracy and freedom. And he has the experience, the contacts, the relationships with leaders all around the globe to put America back where it should be, back on that stage. Joe Biden is going to make sure that everyone has access to health care, because he's going to build on the Affordable Care Act. He's going to provide a public option, but he is not going to take your private health care insurance plans away. He's going to make sure that what you fought for, what you negotiated, is going to be protected. And Joe Biden opposes right to work for less at the state level and the national level. Let me just say this. Joe Biden, America needs Joe Biden to be president a hell of a lot more than Joe Biden needs to be president. He's here to serve. He's ready to serve. And to share that journey with Joe, as our next president, he's going to also need, at his right hand, his First Lady, our First Lady. So let me share a little story with you that speaks to the heart of the relationship of the wonderful lady that I'm about to introduce to this podium, a great leader who will appear with her afterwards. You know, they say a good man never gives up on something he believes in. And even when he has to ask 5 times before his wife agrees to marry him, but in this case, his persistence really paid off. And yes, she finally said yes. And in their 42 years of marriage, this couple has built the strongest of bonds, powerful enough to guide them to the pinnacle of American politics, from the U.S. Senate to the Vice Presidency of the United States, and soon to become president. By trade, she's an educator, so it is understandable that she didn't quit her job and her career, if you will, as a professor, even in 2008, when her husband made his run for the White House. And she didn't quit when Barack Obama came calling for her husband to be his running mate and his most trusted advisor. She knew she could and that she should play both roles, to take on the demanding role of Second Lady and to maintain and nurture her career and the commitment to education. Throughout those years, while on the trail campaigning with her husband in Washington, D.C., she continued to teach English and reading as an adjunct professor at the Northern Virginia Community College. And while she's enjoyed a remarkable career as an educator, she used her position as Second Lady to extend into new ventures, taking great interest in the well-being of our nation's military families. In 2011, along with First Lady Michelle Obama, she formed Joining Forces, a nationwide initiative calling all Americans to rally around service members, veterans, and their families. That's what she did. And she lent her passion and experience to USAID, pushing for greater awareness of the effect of the deadly famine, drought, and war on the people in the Horn of Africa. She also took time to write a children's book titled Don't Forget, God Bless Our Troops, based on her son Beau's deployment. And then with the Biden Foundation and a role with the nonprofit group Save the Children, she continued to serve our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming a dedicated public servant, a devoted educator, a great woman whose story inspires us all, the woman who's going to be the next First Lady of the United States, Dr. Jill Biden.
Your love lifted me higher than I've ever been lifted before. So keep it up, quench my desire, and I'll be at your side.
Thank you.
Forevermore.
Thank you.
You know your love.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President. Oh, I'm going to have to get used to saying that. Harold, you've always been the kind of leader that we need in this country, one with vision, integrity, and honor. And Joe, admire you, but more than that, we are so grateful for your friendship. Hello, Iowa. Hello, Des Moines. I'm Jill Biden, and this is our granddaughter, Natalie. Here, I'm going to take this off. It's hot. So, no, really, everybody knows me, I think, as Joe's wife, but that's generally how I'm known. But I want to tell you a little bit more about myself. So, when I was 13 years old, I stomped down the street of Willow Grove, Pennsylvania, in my neighborhood, and I knocked on the door of a boy named Drew. Well, Drew had been making fun of my little sister, who was just 9 years old at the time, and he was throwing worms on her again. And she was terrified to go back to the bus stop. He was a serial offender, and I was getting tired of it. I had no idea what I was going to say to him. So when he opened the door, I pulled back and I punched him right in the face. And then I ran home as fast as I could. I hate bullies. Now today, you know, I would say that I would handle the situation a lot differently. But that was the passion that sent me storming down the streets all those many years ago. Because nothing makes me angrier than seeing someone abuse their power to make others feel small. And I don't know about all of you, but I'm tired of seeing our children running from their schools because our leaders don't have the courage to stand up to the NRA. I'm tired of seeing this administration tell our LGBTQ community that they don't deserve the same rights as others because of who they are or who they love. I'm tired of seeing people who have pre-existing conditions have to worry that they won't be able to get coverage because the GOP wants to kill the ACA. I'm tired of a president who thinks he can mock, threaten, and belittle our cities, our institutions, and the people who make our nation great, like journalists, like Gold Star families, Congress, and anyone who stands up to him. I'm ready to do something about it. What about you? We're now just about a year away from the election that will determine the course of this nation going forward. And we need a candidate who can tell us not just what he wants to do, but what he has done. We need someone with the vision and the experience to lead us out of this mess. And we need someone with the courage and the fortitude to take on the bully in the White House. That's Joe Biden. So sometimes I try to imagine what it's going to be like after the election is over. So picture this. It's 2021. It's a day like today. Maybe it's rainy. You're sipping your morning coffee, and you pick up the morning paper. And the headline isn't about some late-night tweet storm. Instead, it's about the children who will benefit from universal pre-K. It's a story about how we're investing in the kind of green technology that will create jobs here in Iowa. Then you turn on the morning television, and the anchors are talking about how we're going to build on the Affordable Care Act with a public option, and reporting that someone is finally standing up to the NRA to keep our schools and children safe. And when they cut to the President of the United States, you don't turn the channel. You call in your kids from the other room because you want them to hear what the President of the United States has to say. A president that we can be proud of. A president who brings people together instead of tearing families apart. A president who believes that our best days are ahead of us. And that president is Joe Biden. But we can't get there without you. And thank God for the firefighters. We have to stand up for what we believe in. We have to speak up for those who are hurting. And we have to hit those bullies where it hurts, the ballot box. So please help me in welcoming the man who knows how to fight bullies better than anyone I know, Joe Biden.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Your love
Thank you.
lifted me higher
Thank you, thank you.
than I've ever
My,
been lifted
thank you.
before.
I tell you what, that was worth the trip. I tell you what, the main reason I ran for president, she never says that stuff privately to me. You know? But I tell you what, I'm known, all kidding aside, not a joke, I'm known home and I'm getting known here as Jill Biden's husband. And I'm proud of it. And it did take 5 times. I was finally the 5th time after I'd been a single dad, a single parent for about 5 years. And
and Jill and Chris knows all. Chris Dodd, Senator Dodd, you help firefighters as much as anybody in the whole deal. And I was down in South Africa trying to get to see Nelson Mandela on Robben Island because I was very upset about what was going on. I was with was then the Black Caucus, and we got stopped, initially arrested, and then we got sent home. And I got off the plane in Philly, and I went to Delaware where Jill was teaching home, my home, stopped at her apartment, knocked her, said, "Oh, Joe, come on in." And I said, no. I said, "You got my Irish up now." I said, "I'm only going to ask you one more time, just one more time, about whether you marry me. Don't say anything." I said, "I'm not going to ask you when, just if. Will you marry me?" This is what she did. Okay. My sister, as one of her best friends, said, "What made you change your mind?" She said, "I fell in love with the boys, my two sons, who were very young then. And a lot of good things came from that, beginning with my deceased son, Beau Biden, Attorney General Biden, Major Biden, his daughter, Natalie." Folks, look, you've all heard the expression, God made man, and then he made a few firefighters. And that's a fact. I grew up in a neighborhood in Claymont where you became a firefighter, a cop, or a priest. I wasn't qualified for any of them. So I ended up being a lawyer. But let me tell you something. Thank God you all are crazy. You're the only ones that run into flames and not away. And on a fairly personal note, firefighters in my state, my whole family owes. They saved the lives of my two sons. When I was in Washington, just having turned 30, hiring staff in December 18th, I got a call. Tractor trailer broadsided my wife and daughter, killed my wife and killed my daughter. But my two sons were badly injured and took the jaws of life from my fire company to get them out. Got them to the hospital, saved their lives. When I was hanging around the first time I ran and things looked like they were going well, I ended up with a cranial aneurysm. I had to be flown down to Walter Reed to a surgeon. It was a snowstorm. I couldn't get down. My fire company got me down what turned out to be a 13-hour operation and saved my life in the middle of a snowstorm from Wilmington, Delaware. Our fire company, when I was away in Washington back in '98 doing a Meet the Press show, I got a call saying my house had been struck by lightning. It was on fire. My wife, and she was most worried about our cat. And the dogs were in the house. The smoke was so thick you could not see in the windows, God's truth. My fire company responded. They saved everybody, saved the house, risked their lives. They're the most incredible group of people I've ever worked with. And Harold, to have you endorse me as you have has meant more to me than just the endorsement. It really means a great deal to me and my entire family. Folks, thank you for joining us at the Liberty and Justice Dinner. And a special thanks to those of you who traveled from across the state to show your support tonight. You know, to state the obvious, we can't do it without you. This is all about you. It's all about you being able to get folks to the polls. It's all about you being able to get folks to the caucuses. It's hand to hand. And I know from experience, the people who win are the people who have the best volunteers because people come and vote, not just because of the person they support, but because you support them, because they respect you, and it matters a great deal. But I'm also asking you to take a step, an additional step, and that is get involved directly in the campaign. Become precinct captains if you're not. Volunteer to make phone calls, knock on doors. Ladies and gentlemen, it all starts in Iowa on February the 3rd. And together, we're going to win Iowa and win this nomination. So thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Go get them. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.